Okay, my name is Jodi Burril, and I work for the Florida Conference of Children and Family as the assistant. I've been doing Sabbath school for over 30 years, and basically beginners. My daughter is 28 and my son is 24, and I've been doing, I never went out of cradle roll.
Agape.
So can you still hear me?
Yes.
Okay, something's beeping. I don't know what that is. So anyway, why don't we start with a word of prayer, okay? Dear Heavenly Father, thank you so much for loving us and guiding us. And during this new time of COVID, please be with us as we start Sabbath school sometime soon and help us to make the right decisions and things that we're going to have to do that are different. Thank you for loving us and so much for loving our children. In Jesus' name, amen. So I thought what I would do today is I really want to go more over how to start a beginner's class. If you have questions or things that you need me to answer for you, we can do that. But at the beginning, I just want, why do we do Sabbath school and why do we take the time to do it? And there's really needs that our children, you don't really think, you just think that maybe you're going in telling a Bible story and that's it. But that's really, there's more things that kids need, basic needs of children in Sabbath school. So let's go over that. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. So all children have certain basic needs as well as needs that are specific to the stage or their development. So, and why do we do that in Sabbath school? Because we need to use different props and different things, the physical, mental, and emotional and spiritual things that we need in Sabbath school. So the first thing is physical. We need to know that the children have food, warmth, and shelter. And then the second one is mental, power to make choices and follow plans. And emotional, a sense of belonging. And I think that's the most important one, is a sense of belonging, approval and recognition, expression and unconditional love and acceptance. I know when I taught at another church, I think when my primary age, I had one little child that the teachers had a really hard time loving. And I just had to tell them, I'm sorry, you're just gonna have to deal with the unconditional, with the child that's very difficult. And you're just gonna have to learn ways to help that child function in Sabbath school. And a lot of times doing that is by having the child that's difficult help you out a lot of times. The thing is a freedom with defined boundaries and humor, a chance to laugh. Kids love to laugh. And I love to laugh. So if you know me, I laugh constantly all day long. And then the spiritual part of a child in Sabbath school. An all-knowing, loving, caring God. You want them always to know that God cares for them. And then there's forgiveness of wrongs and chance to start over and acceptance of God. And then there's prayer. And that's for all the Sabbath schools. That's not really for cradle beginners. And we're going to go over the beginners too here. So the beginner child. And I'm using GraceLink. I don't know if all of you use GraceLink, but there's a lot of good things with GraceLink. If you use another program, that's okay too. The things that I'm going to tell you will still pertain to a different program. Now, some of the other bigger churches do different programming, but they'll use GraceLink as their Bible story. And so there's many different ways to do beginner Sabbath school. So some of the things that you need for GraceLink, well, of course, is, can you see the beginners? They have the teacher's manual and they have the child's manual. The teacher's one has so many different things for you, and it will tell you word for word what you need for each quarter that you're doing. There's another thing that most of your churches would have, and you can get it at your ABC, is a quick start guide, beginner Sabbath school lesson. So those are a couple of different things. But if you are using GraceLink, you can get all the music. This is the piano one. And then there comes a set with the CDs. So have you guys seen this? Are you guys using GraceLink? Hello?
Hello? Yes, can you hear me?
I can hear you now.
Okay. I got a question.
Yes.
I think I might be in the wrong class. I was thinking this for like, are you going to cover all the beginning classes or just the kids?
I am just the beginners.
Okay, because there's a beginners too for adults. So.
Oh no, I'm sorry, you have the wrong class. You can go.
I beginning adult.
Oh, Jesus.
Here, child. So are the rest of you in the right class?
I thought it was for adults as well.
Okay, you can leave it too.
Well,
I'll stay, but I did think it was for adults.
just
Hi there. It's going to be recorded, so other kids will. So anyway, in GraceLink, is there any questions you have before I go on to GraceLink?
no, I have a kindergartner. We use GraceLink currently.
Okay, so in GraceLink curriculum, you can use it, you can target it for ages birth through 2-year-olds is what it usually is. But I know most of the smaller churches go up to age 4.
Right.
So you can gear it towards older kids or you can gear it to younger kids. So to better understand beginners' children ages birth through 2 years, it is helpful to note characteristics of their growth and development. So this is basically to help us as we're going through Sabbath school that we know kind of the stages of Sabbath school, of what the kids are going through. If you already have kids, you probably already know most of this, but if you're first-time parent or first-time teaching in cradle roll or beginners, this is some of the stuff. Basically and physically, you know, kids at this age grow so much, and they vary from how they develop. So they vary greatly in their physical development, are growing rapidly, tire easily, and cannot sit very long. And that's really, really true. So in Sabbath school, you really have to have things moving when you're doing a beginner's class. And then the mental, have an attention span of only 2 minutes, very small attention span. Learn by active involvement and imitation rather than by instruction. They learn best one mini step at a time and focus attention on what they see or touch. Do you have any questions? So then the emotional, this is are extremely centered on themselves. Basically, they're the only people that they know and want to interact with. They're themselves. And they fear separation from parents. My son was like that. He would just sit on my lap and not want to go any place. And then my daughter was the opposite, and she was all over the room. So, and the next one is cry easily. One crying child sets all the other children to crying. I do remember that a lot in Sabbath school. You have one start to cry and the rest would start to cry. And then the other is become attached to adults who show love and acceptance of them. And you can really tell even at this age that children at even this smaller age can tell whether you like them or not, or accept them the way they are. Then the spiritual sense of attitude, respect, joy, and what's the other word? Anticipation and connection with the church, the Bible, and Jesus. They can, I use a lot, you won't always want to have pictures like of Jesus. I don't know if you can see my Jesus or not, but always have some form of Jesus in the room, a felt Jesus. This one we got from Hallmark, and I really think that that's only the way they can really identify who Jesus is. They also will fold hands briefly for the blessing for meals and kneel for prayer. And that's very simple, but that's the beginning of teaching them about Jesus and about prayer and love. So they develop mentally the ability to manipulate objects, events, and even people. Freedom to make choices and interact in learning situations. Independence to do some things unaided, and they need to feel safe at all times. So, is there any questions over all the different aspects of a child's development? No? So Grace Link is based on 4 different things. And as you go through the Bible story, it talks about they have service, which is we are God's little helpers. And a story that goes along with that is Samuel listens to God. And then the other one that Grace Link does is grace. Grace means belonging to God. And that's the one that, the story they use for that is Food for Elijah. Then there's community. They use community means to caring for one another. And that one they use as a new baby boy in that one. And then worship, of course, is I love Jesus and all the fun things that go along with worshiping God. That one is, I think, one of the most important things, teaching them through song and worship how to love Jesus. So, are there things that you need to know? Because in your Sabbath school, do you teach Sabbath school or?
So I was just assigned the role of cradle roll teacher, so I'm here to learn how to approach that.
Okay, so this should help you start your Sabbath school.
Yeah.
I wanted to be doing something that you really would help you out. So
Okay.
So basic supplies. I went through this. Not all of them that you will need or whatever, but you know, it's important to have things in the classroom that the kids you'll have on hand. So you can do art supplies or whatever. And I don't know what your budget is or whatever you have. Is it probably a small church, or is it a bigger church or a small church?
Not too small, not too big either.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do they have stuff? Do you already have supplies and stuff?
I have no idea.
Oh, you haven't even been in there?
No. It's my first time. I know with quarantine, I'm not able to go in and really check out stuff.
That's true.
Yeah.
And so that's going to be a whole different ball game too, and we'll discuss some of that too.
Okay.
We'll just go from the beginning of what kind of supplies you need. The Dollar Tree and Oriental Trading are the best places to get supplies. So the art supplies that they had down was those Chanel sticks, cotton balls, craft sticks, crayons and markers, pencils and pens, scissors, you know, at this age, you're going to have to really help them with the scissors. Glue and glue sticks. They have butcher paper, which is really good when you're doing a craft. You can put it down on the table, and if they're coloring on the table, the paper will be there, so you don't have to worry about that. Drawing paper, tissue paper of all colors, and writing paper. Supplies frequently used for main program. So these are the things that I usually used in my Sabbath schools was animals. So we have different kind of animals. I got these mask animals, and they're actually made out of fabric. So they're really soft when the kids use them. I've used them, and you can wash them. That's the nice thing. You can wash them, and I use them for camp meetings, so we would use them and then we would wash them. And now that there's COVID, you'll probably have to take them home after every use if you use them. So then there's angels. There's felt angels you can use, or angels on sticks, or different kind of angels that you can have. We use them a lot in Sabbath school. And then you have babies and baby bottles. And so this is what we found, some smaller babies. And you can get, we got every nationality that you can get for the child. And then they have birthday cake, and that needs to be plastic and child friendly. And then books, child friendly, animals and books. Broom, dust cloth, cleaning supplies for kids, child size. And bubbles is the most important thing. I use bubbles all the time. And since we have COVID, you need to get a bubble machine, because blowing is probably not the best thing to do anymore with with COVID. So, and I've always used a bubble machine, and the kids love it. And I'll show you a picture in a minute of the kids using the bubble machine. And then you always need a CD player for Sabbath school. And carpenter tools, child size and friendly, because Noah's Ark usually is when you use the tools. And you can get most of those at the Dollar Tree. This is Lady Lake Church, and that's them using the bubbles. And that's with a bubble machine. So then the other thing is costumes, angel costumes. And really the best time to get your costumes would be during, I hate to say it, but during Halloween or after Halloween, because you can get a lot of the costumes after that. We always use the crowns. I found some really cool from Oriental Trading. This crown is actually Velcro, so you can use it to different sizes, and it's soft, so it's not going to hurt their head, and you can move it around to what size you need. So then we have dolls and doll clothes, different ethnic dolls. We have felt, angels, animals, children's flowers. And I know a lot of people still probably think felts aren't really in style anymore, but I actually really like them because it's a different texture for the kids to bring up onto the felt board. It's a different sensory for them. And then we always use mirrors. I always use mirrors a lot of times in the beginning song so the kids can see themselves. Kids love it at this age, love to see themselves. And then there's nature items, rock, feathers, shells, birds, flowers, and fruit. Always have a fun offering container, rainbow sticks for Noah's Ark, and musical instruments, and ones that the kids can hold. And these I got at Oriental Trading, I think. Different. And then stickers and squirt bottles are some of the fun things that I've used before. So I'm just going to go over the classroom, and I don't know, this is Forest Lake Church, and they have, when I started there, we did not have the backdrop. As you can see, the backdrop in the back is really, you have a question?
No, I was saying it really looks good. I love it.
It does. And the thing with the backdrop is that if it gets dirty, you can throw it into the washing machine and you use it every, they have every different background. And so they're expensive to start with, but later on you can use them over and over again. So, and that's another one that they have. And another thing is if you look at the top of this where the music is put over on a TV, that is like the best I've seen. We used to, on this one that I showed before, it has 2 TV screens, and this one only has 1 TV screen up at the top. But it's so much easier to do your music that way. And so that's what we've done. And then this is just a room there that they had painted. This is their primary praise and worship room at Forest Lake, and that's what it looks like. It even has their church in the back. You kind of can see their church and then all the fun stuff, praise and worship room. And this is in their new Forest Lake has a new children's wing, and this is in their new children's wing. So, and then this is just to show you that in each room you need to have chairs that are age appropriate in each room. And that way the kids can sit comfortably and the parents can watch them easily. And so then we have important messages for adults and beginners Sabbath school. Safety, and this is a huge thing now because of COVID. I didn't add that, but I think what we're thinking when we start children's programming, especially for beginners, I'm thinking that probably the best thing to do is have a box for each child and put all the props that you need in a box. And then you're going to have to totally wash with Clorox wipes and then put them back in the box. You're going to have some for visitors that come. Now, at Forest Lake Church, when I did beginners, we would have 2 services. So what you would have to do is you would have to clean all the toys before the next service. So that was a lot of hard work. So do you have any questions on cleaning and that type of thing for Sabbath school? No? Okay. So then the other part of safety in the classroom is to never leave children unattended. Provide supervision at all times. Always have 2 people in the room at all times, which most of the time in beginners, the parents are with them. So that really isn't the biggest need in beginners. But if you need to, if a parent needs to leave or something, they need to make sure that someone is in there with their child at all times. And then the next thing is always ask first before touching a child, even when you are responding to a child that is hurt. You can never be too careful. I mean, I know in the older days it was fun to hug, and but nowadays you just don't know, and it's best to be careful on that. And so what they say is to keep hugs brief and shoulder to shoulder or side to side. And then when taking children to the bathroom, you need to leave the door open or take another adult with you. But most of the time in beginners, you have the parents. So usually the parents take care of that. So if the door to your classroom does not have glass in it or around it, the door should be left open so the teacher is in full view. But with you guys, when you have your parents with you, that's not as necessary. So, are there any questions that I need to answer about all of that? No? Okay. So then I'm going to go, I'm going to go into telling a Bible story and the things that are important when you get ready for beginner Sabbath school. So when you begin to do a study, you need to study the story while you're preparing for Sabbath school. Know your story inside and out. But the best way to do it is tell it in your own words. Don't embellish it too much. We had some guys in Sabbath school that they were guys actually. Some of the kids' fathers did, and they were hilarious. They would tell a story and they would really embellish it. Stay to the story, and you need to practice. A lot of times for using the story, I use props. So like, I have a puppet, and you can use the puppet to tell the story. This one I would probably use in creation, or actually I think I used this one in Moses too. Use objects that are in the story. So like, I found this is like about Joseph. So the story of Joseph with camels, a chariot, horses, so many different things that you can use to tell the Bible story. So I would use many different things like that. I have my Jesus that I can use, and I'm throwing stuff all around. This is a really cool thing. This is on creation. And this, I don't know if you can buy anymore, but it's like a nesting doll. You have the first day, then you have the second day, and, well, maybe we'll have the third day. Oh. So, Then he made land. That's the first, second, third day. I'm like confused already. Then the months, can't even talk, the sun, moon, and stars. And then the fish and the birds. Then you have the animals and made the people. I have different, these are really cute that you can get. I got these at Target, and they were $1 at Target at the dollar section. And then inside, on the seventh day, God created rest in church. So the seventh day. So those are different things that you can tell your story. I also still have the felts where you can tell a story. Good old felts. This one is Noah's Ark, which is fun. And so do you have any questions about telling a story? Okay.
No, I'm good.
So then I have age-appropriate crafts. It's kind of hard at this age to do a lot of crafts, but I usually use the craft to tell, to make sure that the memory verse is on the craft, so that when they take it home, they will know the memory verse. So these are just simple stuff that the kids can do. This one is actually just coloring, and then there's stickers, and you can have the kids put them wherever they want in the story. So this is Simeon took him in his arm and praised God, saying, for my eyes have seen your salvation, which you have prepared in the sight of all nations. So these are just simple. And then it has the memory verse on it so that the kids will know. This one is, I listened to God with my heart. And then all you did was put a simple sticker of a heart, and then they can color and make the face on there. And then this is a good one with the Good Samaritan. Jesus told a story about a kind and helpful neighbor. And this one, at this age, they know because of a Band-Aid. It gives them, I found these cool little Band-Aids at Target for $1. And at that age, they still understand an owie. So fun stuff like that they can do for a memory verse or for craft. So do you have any questions that you want to know about Sabbath school?
No, not yet.
You don't you don't have any you don't know any needs or anything that you will be needing, or?
Well, actually, I have a 5-year-old. She just turned 5, and she was in pre-K 3 and 4 at a private school. They did a lot of stuff, so kind of have an idea.
Yeah.
And then now I have a 5-month-old. So this information will help a lot with him.
I hope so.
And from the experience with the other one. So we'll see.
Do you so you haven't been in the classroom to even see what there is?
Actually, just a little bit. At her age, she was already on her own for the most part. Yes. What you've been doing, like with the setup for the beginners,
Yes.
I had a little experience with that one, but it's something I could catch on quickly, I guess.
Yes. It's really very simple, but you know, some people it's easier, for others seem to have a harder time with coming up with ideas or whatever. But
yeah.
So, anyway, if there any, I think you're the only person on, so,
I see one more person.
oh.
Yeah.
Can you, I don't know if they can,
Oh, you know what I need to ask? Snacks. Is snacks
Okay.
appropriate at this time, going back?
oh, nuts? Is that what you said, like peanuts?
No, snacks in general, snacks?
Oh, snacks.
Snacks.
What we used in Cradle Roll was basically Cheerios.
Okay.
And that was the reason why we chose that, because not too many kids are allergic to Cheerios. You don't have the dairy issue, and you don't have, and we usually did snack during our story time. So we would sit them down on a blanket, and we would have them, the parents would usually be with them, and then we would hand out the Cheerios, and then they would eat and listen to the Bible story at the same time. So,
Okay.
so yeah, that's what we use. That are fishy crackers, but then you have the problem with fishy crackers having cheese in it. So,
Okay. Right.
so that's the reason we chose Cheerios. And we would have parents, like for birthdays and stuff, bring in cupcakes and stuff like that, but that's up to the parent. And if you do that, it would be simpler to have the smaller cupcakes or anything like that. And then you still have to worry about the problem with kids being allergic to something. So, any other questions? No?
Nope. So far.
Okay, I hope it was helpful. And my name is Jodi Burril, and I work at the Florida Conference. So it's jodi.burril@floridaconference.com.
Okay.
And then my phone number is there too.
Okay.
So, just holler.
Okay. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.